Hey there guys, welcome. I am the Terminator. Welcome to my channel. I'm doing a review on an anime that is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? It's one of actually my favorite animes with the first season, although I never really liked the main character. Like, I never really liked him. He wasn't exactly an awesome dude, so he was more like a girl who. It was more like a guy who's more feminine than a girl. That was shocking. So it's no wonder why the girls like him. But in honesty, it was like I felt like the whole thing was just way too fat. It's like, come on, stop that. Just stop. Okay, so to point out a point on the second season, and that's what this review is about. But in order to dish on the second season, which is not really hard to do, they did it to themselves. I'm just pointing it out. I feel like no one's saying something or not, because I looked it up and I haven't found anybody saying anything about the second season. Then again, we'll see. Sure enough, somebody's going to say something. And I usually watch a couple of reviewers that do anime reviews, but I gotta say, I feel like the critics are too easygoing on the anime, and I feel like this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to come out with my voice and just slam an anime real hard, because if I don't, who will? And I'm running into that. Anyway, so let's get back to the point at hand here. So, this is a very good anime. The first season, case in point, second season was a flop, which is to be expected of most animes. But that's because, anime studios don't understand this. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Because if you do, X Mighty on that, 86 on that. Anyway, we're going to drop you like a bad habit, in case you didn't quite get that. Anyway, but here's the point. I really love anime. That's my heart. It's my realm. But after watching like 4, 5, 8,000 anime, I pretty much just seen it all, done it all, been there, done that, Can't really pull one over on my leg. So when you do, you better make it good. This was actually really relatively decent. They really had a good system, had a really good, interesting little dynamic. I mean, level 5, level 4, level 3, level 1, level 0, which is where Bell started out at. Anyway, but he eventually rose to the stack. But anyway, so I have to explain why the third season is so crap. Utter garbage. Now, let me explain. First season was jam-packed with everything you can imagine. Now, Bell was not the strongest guy, no doubt about it. But he had the Juggernaut, which I just was like, why give it to him? Just saying, just what? And how does this one kid randomly just become the most BA thing? I think the Juggernaut should require significant power. Like, the kind of power that is kind of like, it eats away your life force because you're too weak, because you're not at the level. Or something like that. That there's some kind of counter punch here. Now he could just use Juggernaut anytime he wants. I mean, come on, I mean, it's kind of dumb, But anyway, so back to the point at hand. But I mean, it's still a really good show in comparison to most TV shows on anime and stuff like that. Still a really good show. First season, not second season. No, 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 no. Second season, in my opinion, was a failure. Utter freaking failure. And I don't care what anybody says. The problem is people are just like, come on, man, come on, man. Yeah, and it's like you don't know what you're talking about. The voice in action that I'm basically enacting is the people's reaction. Most people that watch anime are a tool, so, to some degree, and they're like acid. They don't like to, they don't want to get involved, but at the end of the day, they think they know best. Not correct. They are just one of the dumb idiots who are along for the ride. And that's pretty much, basically, in a nutshell, what we're experiencing. Now, let me explain when I say I really love anime in general. I love it to the core. But, I mean, like I said, I've seen it all, done it all, and I will point you out for all the mistakes you made. It's as simple as that. It's only fair. Anyway, but the point is, this anime in particular, the first season was really amazing. Now I'm looking at, excuse me, sorry, my whenever I click on something like that, it automatically takes me to Amazon. Yay! But the point is we're looking at the first season. So the first season, let's start there, and then work our way up. Because I have to remind you, because I remember everything that went on in the first season. You know, I was a really big fan of this season, or this, at the beginning. It was jam-packed with a lot of good stuff. Now, Bale was not overpowered at all. In fact, he was actually very underpowered. In fact, he was battling against the impossible. But he ended up being able to adapt and become stronger. But then, it became obviously aware that he needed serious training. So he trained under the princess. Now, the princess, as you know, is not someone who's weak at all. In fact, she's level 5. She becomes level 6 or something like that, I forget. Anyway, but the point is that she becomes really powerful, really strong. But she was already powerful to begin with. And she had really good skills and stuff like that. But here's the thing. She said towards the end of the training that Bale was actually getting stronger because he's S-class. And that's the part I don't understand. If she's actually can't really hold any punches anymore, she's actually having to physically keep up with him. And she was saying that before he left, before he went to go back to the dungeon. You will notice that in the first season and the first anime. I could probably pull up a clip. The only problem is we don't have time for that crap. But the bottom line is that right before he goes off to the dungeon, which, you know, if you watch the anime, you would know what I'm talking about. She says, how is he getting so strong? And she asks him every time, how are you getting so strong so fast? So that was what she was saying. And she couldn't believe it. She couldn't understand it. I don't blame her, because it was really kind of crazy. But then again, it was really good for us, you know, as viewers to watch. But at the end of the day, he was S-class. So he's not really, the ranking system does not matter to him at all. In fact, actually, it's completely useless against him. Because he's S-class. Okay, that's why. So, but here's the interesting part. Oh, here it goes. She actually was not holding any punches back later after when Bell was actually becoming strong. She didn't tell him that he's getting stronger, but he actually was. He might not have been a level 3 or level whatever, but he could rival them easily. The problem was that in the second season, they start off really good, in my opinion. The characters they're all trying to get up, and then I guess the older one out of all of them is the red hair guy. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he actually just got up to level 3 or 2 or something like that. I think it was 3. Anyway, and he got his butt kicked by the guy. Now, granted, here's what I got to say. He might have had speed, but the level 3 guy should have had strength at that point. He should have had defense, and he should have fought, and he would have lost, but Bell would have been able to take him down because he had speed. Bell has speed. We know that. We've seen that in the first season. That's what I'm trying to say, is like, wait a minute here, that doesn't smell right. And yes, and most of the movie and stuff like that was brought up was that he was given a god weapon. True, but it doesn't make the difference, because he may not be that strong. But remember when he was going up against the later towards the in the first season. Now we go back to the first season to explain this. He was going up against a guy who was a veteran. You might have remembered it. It was a fight between this guy that was basically a long-time seasoned veteran who has been there for a while, right? And he was they fought. But the thing is that he rivaled him and actually ended up beating him. Okay? He didn't use Juggernaut. He might have used the Fireball, but I don't remember. But for the most part, he basically used his basic skills. What I'm trying to say here doesn't make sense. Some level 3 just comes up and just ding, 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 you're done. And I mean, literally beat Bale in the face, and he was instant done. He should have rivaled. In fact, Bale should have beat him because he had the Fireball. Because I expected that. Because, he would have been able to, as a tactician, because he's got really good tactician. I've seen it through the first season. the entire time. You know, when he's in the dungeons, he's really good at tacticians. In fact, he was pushing in the dungeons by himself, which means that even though that his friend got up to level 3, he would outrank him in level 3 category. What I'm trying to say here is something doesn't smell right. That some level 3, basically, you know, fast guy who has basically no magic, no ability, so he just basically just has speed. Well, okay, here's what I gotta say. Bale should have been able to rival. He should have been able to rival and should have been able to beat him at the end of the day. It should have been a really good, glorious fight, but at the end of the day, it would have been not that big of a deal. But what they could have done was made it to where Bell's going up against the where they're like challenging him out for a duel, and they're all like at his little house, and they're being really evil like, which I can see that. But it goes a different way. It goes into a different way. But this, I can't get into the second season at all. I find the second season just a complete disgrace of the show. Of the first season, excuse me. I messed that up a little bit. But yeah, the first season is exactly where we want to be. Second season, not so much. In fact, I'm really pissed off. This is such a disgrace on every... We have a god who just showed up out of the nowhere, and now he's become this much more powerful entity, and nobody wants to get involved with this guy? Are you kidding me? I mean, like, let me put it this way. At this point, I'm sorry, the gloves would be off. I would be like, first of all, screw you. I have a god spell that would just instantly destruct you right now, and like, don't give a crap. You know, I mean, it's just like, at this point, I mean, who would blame you? But I'm just saying that this is the stupid level of stupid, and it just keeps on getting more stupid. Now, I understand we want to bring in somebody who we have to fight against, but why do we have to bring a god into, like, another god who just shows up out of the nowhere? How many gods do you have? I mean, jeez. And they did that in the movie as well. I'm like, you're adding more gods up on the table. I'm like, I liked it when it was just a smaller amount, so in that way be able to digest it a little bit better. But the problem is that it gets really, really hard to be able to say, I love this show, I want to love it. Not really. It's more like just a disaster. And then I've got people and my friends who are telling me, I love the second season, it's great. And then I tell them about this, and then they go, well, this is your opinion. Well, not necessarily, because it's not just my opinion on the table here. We're talking about the actual fundamental of the show. This is an actual diamond in the rough, but yet they destroyed it in the second season. Now, the movie was good. I had no problem with that. In fact, I actually liked it, even though that there was a god who was just now brought into the table when she wasn't really shown before. And it's like, okay, that was a little bit weird. But, okay, I understood that because we've seen this in Dragon Ball Z. I'm fine with that. Just do it right. Do it justice. But then they try to make an enemy who's like some kind of, you know, some kind of Sasuke Aizen or something like that. Or, I mean, but he's like a pathetic, he's like a pathetic guy, you know, like the kind of guy you want to kill. And it's like, it just doesn't really... I'm sorry, but I can't get behind this anime. Or at least the second season, because this is just such garbage. It's supposed to be really good, and it's supposed to be entertaining. That's what I liked about it. It was fun, and yeah, the fights, the stuff that he struggled with throughout, the fights that he struggled, and remember when he was fighting against those big demons that were way out of his league? He was actually fighting them still, and him and his goddess were completely on the ropes and about to, you know, be eaten. And so it just really drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. Now we have Bill just getting completely hit, and because he picked the fight, he didn't pick the fight, they did. But you know, what are you gonna do? You know, like, I mean, you can rub it off any way day you want, but then they just start, you know, really being, you know, jerks. But why now? Why decide now to all show yourself? That doesn't make any sense. And if you're so great, if you're so strong, how come you weren't in the battles in the first season? You didn't show up to fight. You didn't defend. You didn't fortify. You didn't do any of that. You just sat there. But if they're so strong and so powerful and so great, then how come nobody... I just don't get that feeling, like that sense that they're that strong. But yet, here we go. We're just making them just poof it. You know, because the architect who built this anime is just going to go... And we're just supposed to swallow their BS. It's like, come on now, get your head on straight, get back to the actual reality of this anime. That's the shame about this anime. It's such a good anime, deserves better. The anime studios really effed up this whole entire second season, and it's not surprising. It's been doing this for years. You know, anime studios fail when good anime comes out. They always screw it up sometime. It's the story of my life in a sense. But anyway, alright, thanks guys for watching. I'm going to end it here because this is a pretty good note to end it on. If anybody has any comments, go ahead and put them on. If you want to discuss these findings that I pointed out, trust me, I would love to show you video clips, but I just don't have the time to do that because the amount of time it would take to get the videos put up, and then we would go into 40 minutes, not 15 minutes, and I want to keep the review short and sweet to the point, you know. But thanks guys for watching. Bye bye.